Here are the real pros and cons that no tourist video tells you. If you think about it, most YouTubers just show you the beaches, the nice condos, and the smiling locals. But the key thing that they always leave out is if it's worth living here in Cebu City. If you do not know who I am, my name is Trinidad. I am 23 years old and I have been living in Cebu City for the past 3 years. And today I'm going to give you the hidden realities that no vlog YouTuber ever tells you about coming to Cebu City. By the end of this video, you will know exactly whether you would love to live in the Philippines or hate it. The first thing that attracts a lot of foreigners is the cost of living. Now, when you compare living here in Cebu to other Western countries such as the US, Canada, or UK, you can live a comfortable life without draining your bank account every month. So the typical price range for condos here in Cebu City, based off of the developed areas like IT Park and Cebu Business Park. Rents can go as low as 20,000 pesos up to 75,000 pesos, depending on the size of your condo unit and also if it's furnished or not. Now the next part, which is like your groceries, your transportation costs, your night outs, how many day trips you want to take, that all depends entirely on you. I will say it's not as cheap as Thailand or Vietnam. And for you to get your groceries, you'll typically go to Marketplace or Metro. The way I like to compare it, if you're from the US, it's like going to Walmart versus Target, or Food for Less to Whole Foods. Now, in terms of your transportation costs, it can vary on the person. If you live here in the city, it's pretty easy for you to flag down a taxi, or if you don't want to do that, then you could use an app called Grab, and it acts like the Uber of Asia. You can order food there. You could also order taxis. Now, if you want to experience the local way of commuting around the city, you have the jeepney, you have the bus, and then you have a taxi motor. Now, transportation costs can go up significantly if you're always doing day trips outside of the city. An example would be if I wanted to go down south and visit Moalboal, I would hire a private van for me and my friends to use to go down there, and it would range from 5 to 10,000 pesos for the entire day. The second thing are the Filipino people and the community that is here in Cebu. I'm pretty sure you have heard it from other foreigners, but Filipinos are probably the most hospitable people you will ever meet. Another thing that is very attracting to tourists that are coming here to either visit or live is how easy it is to talk to local Filipinos, which is not something they really hear in other Asian countries such as Vietnam, Thailand. Now, the third thing is lifestyle and things to do within the city or the island itself. So if you're a person that loves the beaches, likes working out, likes nightlife, cafes, thrifting, hiking, running, then this place is perfect for you. The way I like to compare Cebu is California, United States, because in California, you have everything. If you want to be on the beach, you can go along the coastline. If you want to experience snow, you go up to the mountains. That is the same thing here in Cebu City. If you want the beaches, you can go to Lapu-Lapu. If you want to see whale sharks, then you go down south. If you want a nice beach towel, you go down south. If you like hiking, then you can do one that is called Starbucks here in Cebu City. In Cebu, you have Malapascua up north where you get to swim with the treasure sharks. You also have Camote Islands. You also have Bantayan Island. But if you don't like traveling too much, then there's plenty of things to do within the city. Every weekend there's an event. If you like running, there's marathons. If you like thrifting, then there's a lot of different places that you can go to in Cologne. If you like photo walks, there's a lot of photographers here and videographers, so you can join the local communities through like social media platforms. There's even public concerts inside the malls. You cannot get bored in Cebu if you have some type of interest. Now, in terms of the nightlife, in my opinion, I don't like clubbing here. It's not the best. But if you're a person that likes drinking and listening to music, then these are the clubs that I recommend you go to. Trademark. And right below Trademark, there's another club called 10 over 10. And then the last one that I would say is Tagu or Core. If you want me to show you what the nightlife looks here, then comment in the comment section for a future video. Okay, now this is, I would say, the second most searched topic, dating and relationships. For the most part, Filipinos are very respectful. They're open to dating men that are 5 to 30 years or maybe even 40-year age gaps, which is probably why a lot of older foreigners come here. The hookup culture is a thing, but I would say it's more popularized and accepted in Manila compared to Cebu. Me, I have not personally lived in Manila nor have visited, but from what people have told me that came to Cebu, the women there are a little bit more provocative. Compared to the women here in Cebu, Cebuanas, I would say that they are more reserved and they actually care a lot about their public figure. There was actually one time where I went on several dates with this one girl and she was really shy and didn't want to be seen with me in public. So she would have me meet her in places that are very hidden until she felt more comfortable with me. And then after that, we would go on dates out in public and stuff. But that's just my experience. It could be totally different for you. And another thing that attracts foreigners is that Filipinos still have that old traditional mindset where the man is the head of the household. They're very family oriented. And it's something that's really perfect for raising a family if you are looking to already settle with someone. But in my biased opinion, I think Cebuanas are more pretty than girls from Manila. I know I haven't been to Manila yet, but from the girls that I've seen online compared to the ones that I've seen in person here, I find Filipinas in Cebu are just a lot higher quality. But hey, don't take my word for it. Come here and explore the dating scene yourself and then compare the two. In the future, I will make a more in-depth video on my personal experience here in dating, so do look out for that. And for that video, you can also give me suggestions in the side of the comment section on what I can say or what you would like to know about dating, specifically in Cebu. Okay, now let's get into the cons. Now, this may hurt some people's feelings. I don't mean to do that, but this is just all based off of my perspective, my experiences. So do not take it to heart. The first thing is infrastructure, traffic, and pollution. Now, I'm going to say this right now. The road system here is so bad. And the best way I can describe it is like, I feel that the people that created Cebu City first built the buildings and then they forgot that there was roads. So they just filled in the gaps with roads. It's so unorganized. It's not efficient. There's so much traffic because of it. So the peak traffic hours is around 6 to 8 a.m. and 5 to 8 p.m. Now, it would typically take you 30 to 40 minutes to get from one end of Cebu City to the other. With traffic, though, it's either double or triple. It can be caused from construction, accidents, or just little detours that you have to take. And another thing that also causes the traffic is jeepneys and motorbikes. So if you do not know what a jeepney is, I will show you a photo right now. And the biggest problem with jeepneys is that they produce so much air pollution. Now, for context as to why they have not been disbanded from being used is because of how cheap the transportation costs are. So for an example, I live here in Cebu Business Park and my school is at USC downtown next to Cologne Street. A motorbike price would be 50 pesos. And if I took the jeepney, it would be 12 pesos. So you can see just how significant the price difference is between the two. And since Filipinos really don't make that much on a day-to-day basis, they don't want to spend all their money on transportation costs alone. So then that's why jeepneys have not been disbanded. But if you are fortunate and you have your own car, please be careful of driving within the city because these drivers, both the jeepney drivers and the motorbike drivers, do not signal when they turn. Like, there are so many accidents because of how reckless these drivers are. So Philippines has two different seasons, a wet season and a dry season. The coolest months is around December to February, and the hottest periods in the year is around April to January. Another major thing that you have to take into considerations is that there are typhoon seasons. There's actually one major one that happened back in 2021, which was called Typhoon Odette. That typhoon was so bad that it caused floodings, property damages, a lot of people died from it. Electricity wasn't working for months. There is no clean water to drink. But that happens once in a while. Your typical typhoons are just like strong winds and a lot of rain. Now, the third thing that I would say that is a major con of living in the Philippines is the food quality and health. So I'm going to be honest, the Filipino diet is not the healthiest option out of all Asian countries. It's very calorie dense, but lacks a lot of nutrients. And the typical Filipino flavor is salty, sweet, and deep fried. Popular Filipino dishes that are on the side of the road is like kinobo, lumpia, fried chicken. And then you have Filipino carbonara and spaghetti, which is more sweet. And then you have lechon, which is pork, and then you have lechon manok, which is chicken. And then on top of that, there's carbs, and their carb that everyone loves is rice, and they're eaten with every single meal. Filipinos probably eat the least amount of vegetables. It's either rice or meat. So I'm going to be assuming that you, as my viewer, is someone that is in a Western country. You're bringing your expectations from a first world country to a third world country. Everything in the US is digitalized. You can do e-signatures and it can be done within the day. So I'm going to give you an instance, an example that I'm personally experiencing right now. So since I am on a student visa, it's called an F9 student visa, and the visa is good for one entire year. You have multiple entries in and out of the country. So if I'm studying and then I have a summer vacation, I can go traveling and I would be fine, and I don't have to do the entire visa process. That is part of my visa. Okay. For me to extend it for the next year, it's going to take 5 to 6 months. So my visa is valid for 12 months, and half of that goes to just processing to get it extended for the next year. Now, when I first came to the Philippines, it was typically 3 to 4 months. Now they have doubled it. And one thing that I want to add that really annoys me is how they process their documents here. For an example, if a government officer or government related anything asks you documents A through D, right? They will not tell you need documents A through D. They'll tell you, oh, can you bring the document A? Okay, you bring document A, they process it, and then, okay, now you need to bring document B. And then you bring document B. I'm like, okay, now then you need C. And they do that for every single document that they need for you. And that only prolongs the entire processing period. Filipinas are very nosy and jealous. There had been some times where the jealousy has gotten so bad from an experience that I had with a girlfriend that I had to break up with her immediately afterwards because she was making a whole entire scene because a group of girls were walking by while I was looking at clothes and they were kept on looking at me. I wasn't even paying attention to them, and they kept looking at me and like giggling and talking about me, and then she saw that and she got mad at me, and then we got into a fight. So like that's how bad it can get. And that's another drawback, is if you are a foreigner that's coming to live in the Philippines, you're gonna get stared at by like everyone. So that's gonna be expected, and you just you can't do anything about it. The next thing that I really want to make clear is that there's a difference between a province girl and a city girl. Now, if you watch other foreigners that have been living in the Philippines and they have touched base on this, then you might know what I'm talking about. If you don't, well, I'm gonna explain. A province girl has had an education. She's been taught well from her parents to take care of the family. The man is the head of the households. They know how to cook. They know how to clean. And in some cases, the family grooms the province girl for the foreigner to take her in, and also the entire family. And these are like some key characteristics to indicate which one is a province girl compared to a city girl. Now, on the other hand, you have a city girl. This woman is career oriented. She had her own education. She's experienced the corporate world. She probably had a boyfriend or two. She's a little bit more free because she lives by herself. Okay, now in terms of what ages to date, I have broken down 3 age groups, and this is based off of all of my experience. So if I have any women viewers, I'm sorry, this is just my perspective. So women from the ages of 18 to 23, I feel, are still not physically and mentally matured because they're in college, they're still living with their parents, they haven't worked for themselves, they don't know what it takes like to pay your own bills, like they haven't really experienced like the independent stuff that an adult does, and it feels like you're almost dating a child. Then you have the ages of 23 to 28. I feel like this is a sweet spot for a lot of foreigners. She's a little bit more seasoned in life, so I think the maturity level is a lot better. And then if it's anything above 29, I have heard stories from a lot of foreigners that the women are just not the best to deal with. In terms of fighting, they love to gossip about you. They rant about you on Facebook to their friends, and there's just a lot of nightmare experiences that I have heard from other foreigners, not me personally, and we're just gonna leave it at that. The Philippines is for you if you want a fresh start. If you're in your early 20s like I was, or late 30s, and you feel kind of stuck, lost, or just want like a fresh start, then come to the Philippines. You enjoy slower and more human-paced living. Life here is more social, it's more relaxing. You can build relationships with people instead of like being in a Western country where you're constantly on the go, grinding. Filipinos, even though they work, they have their own corporate jobs, they still prioritize their family. Like if they could choose to make money or spend time with family, they would choose their family 100% of the time. If you value community and connection, there's a bunch of groups and different interests that you like. If you like running, there's groups for you here. If you like creative outlets like music, art galleries, photography, that's all here for you. If you are an online freelancer or you work remotely, $2,000 can easily give you a comfortable lifestyle. If you want adventure without losing your stability, and what I mean by this is Cebu is very versatile. You can stay in the city, have a nice establishment in terms of your career and all that stuff, and then you can travel outside of the city and go on hikes, go to the beaches, go to a party town. Like, you can do both here in Cebu. The Philippines is not for you if you need everything to be efficient, clean, and predictable. Like I said, traffic is terrible here. The road system, the infrastructure, it's not the best. Government processing for your visa, it's very slow. If you do not have patience, you will either have to adapt or just don't even bother coming to the Philippines. You cannot handle the heat or the humidity. You don't sweat as much, but do expect to wear like sandals, flip-flops. If you're expecting a westernized lifestyle in a third world country, although Cebu City is pretty developed, there's a lot of major withdrawals from it. It's still a third world country. Therefore, there's going to be third world problems. Drainage systems are not the best when it rains a lot. The roads here are basically a maze. It's not the cleanest. The air pollution is also really bad. If you hate noise, large crowds, densely populated cities, then I think Cebu City is not for you. If you want something even more slower of a pace, then go to the province. And that can be either in Cebu Island or the other neighboring islands. If you are not ready to respect the local culture. What I mean by this is I have encountered a lot of foreigners who come here with the entitlements. You have to remember that you have left your own home country to come live here. And if you're going to come live here, at least respect the locals. Like, that is just like the bare minimum for any country that you go visit. And the last thing that I want to say is if you want 100% privacy, that is not a thing here, especially if you have a girlfriend, because that girlfriend has family members and she will most likely vent to them about you. There are even incidents here in this building that I live in. There's a lot of foreigners, and these foreigners like to date multiple girls. So the guards like to talk among themselves about, oh, look at this foreigner. One night he had another girl, and then 2 weeks later he had another girl, and then 3 weeks he brought back the first girl, and the second girl found out about it, and like yada yada yada. They're just very chismoso, okay? Like, they just can't help themselves. It's like a good pastimer, I guess. Okay, so I broke it down into 4 steps. Okay, so step 1, I would say, is book a flight for 5 to 8 weeks. Don't treat it like a vacation. Actually come here with the intention of you mentally wanting to live here. Walk around the city for yourself. See how safe you feel. Go to the local gyms. Go grocery shopping. Date the women here. Question about everything, like, okay, back in the States, this is how this was compared to now. Do I like this more or do I like that? The third step is live a realistic monthly budget. So however you would normally spend in the States, do the same thing here, and then track it, and then look at the price differences between the two and see if it's worth you even making the full move. And the fourth thing is asking you the big question. Do you see yourself living here for 6 months, a year? What are the drawbacks of living here compared to living in the States? How are you going to make money online? Like, these things you just have to take into consideration, obviously, but some people, it's not too obvious to them. So the whole purpose of me making this 4-step system is I feel like a lot of foreigners, when they do come here, they have high expectations of like, oh, it's cheap to live. The women are beautiful from what I can see online. And then when they get here, it's almost a different story. They kind of do become complacent in terms of like living and all that stuff. But if you end up not liking living here, like you see more cons than there are to pros, then the Philippines is not for you. So if you want to see more videos of what it feels like living in Cebu, then please offer suggestions inside the comment section. And if you do like this type of content, then I have a playlist that is perfect for you that you could watch right here or here. And before you go, drop a comment on what you liked and disliked about the video, what I missed, what I could say in a future video. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in my next video.